Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. It's been cool in Lagos, southwest of the country, where we're broadcasting from. That was because there was an early morning shower. It wasn't that heavy, but it has cooled down a bit. You might not have seen any of that in the very many places that you are viewing us from, but enough of that prattling. On to business. And the presidential race is just around the corner, 2023. We've seen the efforts of APC, and so they have taken it up to a certain stage, and we'll see where it goes from there. But the PDP, the main opposition party, it also is working its own sums out. And I have with me this morning to help us understand what exactly is going on in the PDP connected to all of this, presidential going into the primaries and then from there going into the race itself. Let me introduce Dr. NwachuKwu AnaKwenze. He's a PDP chieftain and indeed PDP Presidential Aspirant. Good morning to you, Dr. AnaKwenze.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Segun Sowunmi, another PDP chieftain, but this time, he's a PDP governorship aspirant from Ogun State. Welcome to you, Mr. Sowunmi.
It's nice to see you.
Indeed, same here. So, we have on the one hand a governorship aspirant and on the other a presidential aspirant. And we are hearing that, well, first of all, the whole question of zoning in the PDP, we understand has been junked, so to speak. The idea being, let every man go to the field and let's see what comes out of that. But maybe I should count that as rumor because I have people from the family here who can tell us exactly what is going on in the family, so to speak, never mind what neighbors hear and are telling you. So I'll ask both of my guests, Dr. AnaKwenze, how well is it going, the whole arrangements towards the primaries of PDP and coming up with a candidate?
In the PDP constitution, it said that it will rotate between the north and the south. The constitution haven't been changed. So while all of a sudden you're changing, moving the goalpost in the middle of the game, it doesn't make sense to me. The Southwest have ruled when Abiola was incarcerated and killed, and then they compensated the Southwest with Obasanjo. And then they did his full term, and after him, then Yaradua, the North was crying, they were compensated. The Yaradua was compensated, but died early. Jonathan took over, so the North served their time. Also, they've been compensated, and the South, Jonathan did the time, and South has been compensated. Only the Southeast have not. Since independence of this country, only 6 months did we serve. Only 6 months. Yeah. So it's not fair. If we want one Nigeria, we want to live like brothers and sisters. We want to be a brother's keeper. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. We should respect ourselves, promote each other. Everybody have things they bring to the table. If you keep doing the same thing and just keep going wrong, that is a definition of madness. The country is not running well now. You don't have security problem. You don't have good security. The economy is going backwards. So why would you bring the same people from the same area that's running the country down to move the country forward?
Okay. Let me ask Mr. Segun Sowunmi, your interest, whereas Dr. AnaKwenze's interest is in the presidential ticket, your interest is in the governorship ticket, and in particular in Ogun State. The whole question of a consensus candidate, I wonder what your thoughts on it are, because those that are promoting this idea in the PDP, let me take, for instance, former Senate President Dr. Saraki. He and other like-minded people, as you know, have been visiting, they're on tour of the country. They visited Niger, I understand, to meet with former military president IBB, but we are hearing that they were non-committal. He also met with the former president, also Abdul Salami Abubakar, both of them reportedly have been non-committal on the issue. Just Nigeria is the foremost thing. The unity, togetherness in Nigeria is the formal thing that they kept on, speaking about. So tell me, sir, what do you understand as the likely result of the PDP reportedly junking the whole matter of zoning to keep it sort of tidy and fair and equitable?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me lay some foundations. The whole business of zoning as a principle was introduced into political conversations in this country by the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria. And it started in 1999. But what most people who talk about zoning fail to remember is that at some point in time, because we have an understanding that anyone who wins an election, be it governor or the president, has what you call the right of first refusal. In principle, the party assumes that you cannot say a Southwest man is president today and be discussing whether he doesn't have a right for a second term. So we began to run the principle of 8 years rotation, which is the zoning. We were lucky to be able to run it the first time with Obasanjo, and then we came back to Yaradua. Incidentally, nature does not respect your administrative convenience. Yaradua, blessed memory, good man, fantastic president, he died. Invariably, the constitution would not wait for PDP to zone it anywhere else other than to say the natural successor to a president because of the joint ticket is his vice. And because PDP balances his ticket, the vice president then, good luck Ebele Jonathan, became president. That gave Obasanjo 8 years, then gave Jonathan of South-South 2.5 plus 4 years, making about 6.5 thereabout years, and Yaradua had just about that number of years. Incidentally, when we got to 2011, when it could have been administrative and zonally convenient to say, let's go to the north, the PDP again, recognizing that the sitting president has a right of first refusal, stayed in the south. So Jonathan then went on again to do 2011 to 2015. By 2015, we lost. 2019, we then zoned to the north as we should, with the assumption that it's going to stay there for 8 years, as we had won. We went to the north, we picked a lot of candidates from the north indicated interest. Atiku Abubakar became the candidate. We didn't exactly get what we wanted because we thought we were cheated. That's one leg of 4 years. Now, the challenge now before us now is that should we then disregard agitations for the country and say, okay, we're going to stick to saying it should go north? We set up a committee way earlier than others, the Governor Bala Mohammed committee, to say, look, we have done 2019, this is the challenge you've got, go around the country and collate the opinions of our leaders and members and come up with a recommendation. And in their wisdom, they said, it appears as though 2023 will be an unusual kind of year. For us to accommodate all of the issues in the country, we need to keep it open. They left it as a recommendation. Then we began to go on. We did our convention to push it as hard as we could. The president, the chairmanship came from the North Central. Mm-hmm. When we then said, okay, it's time to start buying forms, everybody started buying forms. People from the North.
Was that a strategic error?
No, it was not a strategy. It couldn't have been a strategic error. Let me lay it properly. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria supersedes any other constitution. And the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria cannot and will not remove the right of anybody that thinks he has something to bring to the table from participating. People were allowed to buy forms. Before we knew what was happening, we got a couple of northern men buying the forms. Atiku bought, Saraki bought, Tambua is on the table, quite a lot of them, and a lot of Southeasterners now started buying the form. Now we're at a point where we must ask ourselves, what do we do? For us to be able to take that decision, because it's not easy to take it, we set up a 37-man committee made up of representatives of the entire country, almost as if it was an even divide. And then we said, Governor Tom, you be chairman, sit with your committee, go around the country and tell us what is convenient, what is right now, or what should be expedient. Don't forget, a political party doesn't just zone. A political party uses its intention to form government as the basis of what it is doing. They have come back now, just yesterday. We suspect and we believe, because it has to be adopted by the NEC, that it has said for equity, where the country is, for us to be able to win, let all persons who are interested in being president go and vie for the presidency now. It would have amounted to injustice if they had said, oh, go to the north, or they had said, oh, go to the south, or they had said, oh, we are microzoning. That's not how a political party is meant to function. Political parties don't microzone per se. They take the principle of zoning, then those within those zones then go and microzone. And I must also add very, very quickly, there has never been a time, for instance, in 1999, most people forget, for convenience sake, that even though Obasanjo made it at the primaries in Jos, Alex Ekweme was on the ballots. He also struggled to try to be the candidate. It was just the politics of delegates that tilted it where it tilted it. I wonder why people think that the politics of delegates cannot still tilt it now. Delegates election are specialized elections, and the members of the delegate caucus who have to take that final decision are such that they are also aware of all of the issues in the country. What will be required for anybody who wants to be president of Nigeria now is to tell Nigerians why. Is to tell Nigerians what he's bringing to the table. Is to crisscross the country, trying to make sure that people can buy into his agenda. You cannot sit in your zone or in your house or in the comfort of your space and expect that without reaching out to people, without going to meet them, they're going to vote for you. A couple of days ago, just yesterday, the leader of the APC, one of their leaders here, who is also aspiring to be President Bola Tinubu, was in Kaduna to go and commiserate with people, to visit them and all that. That's how this politics is played.
It is what, it is what aspirants do.
Yeah, it's what aspirants do. So I think that for the PDP, we have done well.
Quite a comprehensive background. Thank you for it, because it does put everything in context from your viewpoint. Now, Dr. AnaKwenze, for instance, it's not as if there is a uniform agreement within the PDP as to how to go. For instance, I was reading that former Governor Fayose, he has pulled out of any kind of consensus kind of talk and being a member of any such organization. He said, why? Because he has thrown his hat in the ring. So it behoves him to not be part of this anymore. Abubakar Saraki, even though he himself is interested, he's saying he's not just the only one. He's saying things like, look, the overall interest of the party and indeed the country is more important than his individual aspiration. So it would appear that within the PDP there are those who are looking at it from this whole point of equity, fairness, and that if you go by the letter of the law, perhaps you might have a situation where you might achieve everything within the law and the constitution that you have said, but there might be acrimony underground. And apparently this is what they're trying to avoid by saying, look, let's get some sort of agreement, aka consensus, as to how to go, even though we're all fully aware of what the constitution of the party says. You don't like that line of reasoning?
No, I told you, if they wanted to throw it open, they should have started at the beginning, so that people who will not purchase from will not purchase from.
Okay.
Why would you not disclose all the facts, and then at the end you say it's open for everybody? It's generally agreed upon. This rotation has been going to north and south, north and south. The whole south, 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 and southwest have served. All the southeast have never served. And it was logical that it's going to southeast. Then you move in the goalpost as we're getting closer. That's the problem. They could have started before anybody takes from say it's open for everybody.
Okay.
And some people
You know,
will not have purchased
that's why
form.
I asked if the sale of forms was a strategic error or not. And,
It's a strategic blunder. It's a strategic
never mind
blunder.
error, blunder.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, because it's, I don't know, it's a problem now.
It might have an effect on the voting. It might have effect on the voting. Because a lot of blocks, the major blocks wanted it zoned to Southeast, the Middle Belt group, the Afenifra group, the Niger Delta group, they said it. They said it in writing and in open. So you don't care about the feeling of anybody else. We have diverse group of people in this country. We need to carry everybody along. The skills you have is not the same skills that I have. See, some people might be good in business, some people might be good in media, some people might be good in law. You need to bring the whole country. It's like a team. Play everybody and then see what they can do for the country to be lifted. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, you're not going anywhere. This country is falling behind everybody. We're going backward by 100 years. We are not manufacturing and selling. That's why your GDP is going down. You're not producing anything. Even though God have endowed us more than other countries in the world, God gave us like 12, and the other parts of the world, maybe 2, God gave us 12. God gave us everything. You see, you don't have hurricane, you don't have tornado, you don't have fire like California. You have everything. You have cocoa, rubber, plantain, tin, coal, iron, palm oil, steel. We can perform. All other people like Japan don't have any natural resources, but they buy all this and come and make car and send it to us. What is wrong with us? We have to change the way the country is run in a fundamental way. We need to change. You need somebody that can energize the youth. That's where the energy will come from to change our country to the right direction. Are you happy? Are you happy with the way the country is now? Are you happy with the security? Are you happy with the economy? If you're not happy, I know that's what you want to say, but you can't say it because you're on TV. You need a change. You need somebody
Doctor,
who can change.
how will you know what I was going to say?
Because I know.
How can you know what I was going to say?
Because I can read your mind. And I've been in other programs. The way the anchor didn't want to say what is his mind because he have to stay neutral.
No, all the anchor has to do, as you well know, is just to be professional, not lean one side or the other.
That's
just hear all of them and let the viewer decide. But thank you very much. You see, coming back to you, Mr. Sowunmi, the elders in the PDP, the main, well, everybody's a stakeholder, but maybe you can just say major stakeholders. Why are they having a rethink? Saraki, for instance, has already bought the form. But he's saying the overall interest of the party is much more important than his individual ambition. The way the party is going about it, well, Dr. AnaKwenze said that he feels the whole matter of the form first, buying the form first, and then coming to this tough nut to crack is not just a strategic error, as I had suggested. It was a blunder, as a matter of fact. But you see it differently. You say, no, it wasn't anything like that. So the signals are a bit confusing to, shall we say, a PDP neophyte.
No, they're not.
They're not?
No, they can't be. When a political party lays out its timetable for its activities, I'm going to do my congresses on this day for National Convention, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to open the sales of form. Everybody knows that there's something called caveat emptor. You go and buy the form because you have a strong desire to be able to participate in the process.
That legalism you threw in there,
yeah,
let the buyer beware.
Beware.
Caveat emptor.
You cannot insist that your concept of democracy is that every other person must be told not to exercise his right and franchise to offer himself so you can win. That's not how it works. The way it works is yes, I'm a very, very strong advocate of what are we going to do with the Southeastern agitation around the presidency. But you know what? The challenge before us is that democracy relies on voting. You have to get through your collegiate system, which in our own case is not the delegate. Then you have to get through a general election. A political party, our party, the PDP, we can say boastfully that we have been more equitable along the north-south divide. We had Obasanjo, who is very, very south, for 8 years. we had Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who is equally as South can be, for 5.5 or almost 6 years. Now, we only had 2.5 years of a northern candidate. We are under obligation to keep asking ourselves, how do we mirror ourselves compared to our rivals? The people who have the burden of the zonal, balance now is our rival. Why? Because on the first time out, they got 8 years of a Muhammadu Buhari. They may be under obligation to go south, but that burden is not on us. That's one. Number two, political parties don't sit on a round table to take a zoning position together. Every political party must of necessity do its zoning according to its own directive principle. And I am saying with every sense of emphasis, according to the directive principle of the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, we run an 8-year zoning model, which means that if we go north in year 2000, we are staying north till 2008. Why? Because even if he's a governor or a president, he has the right of first refusal. You cannot start discussing zoning when the man is already on the seat. Be that as it may, where we are now, we have gone backward over, bent all the way to say, okay, no one is cheated. What makes someone like Peter Obi, for example, or Nyesom Wike, for example, or any of the people that have bought funds from the South, including Fayose, what makes you think they cannot win at the primary? It is extremely defeatist to think that you want to rule a country like Nigeria and you do not even trust that your brothers from other zones can believe in your agenda to such a point they vote for you. Are we voting only on ethnicity? Can anybody win all by himself? Can any zone produce president without the other? Now, you talked about the Saraki. I need to delve into that. We must commend them tremendously. Bukola Saraki, the Bello, and the Governor Adamu of Bauchi, Governor Tambo of Sokoto, the chairman of Chairman, and all of those men that have been going around. They're not going around because they want to jettison their ambition. No, they're going around because they are wisely understanding that whoever will eventually be the choice of the delegate, we still need to make sure that the House is united enough to go rescue Nigeria, because everybody agrees that we are in a mess.
Okay.
But we will not then say a much more organized party like PDP is the one we're saying is not fair, when we have looked at the charade of our rivals, the APC, who go to a convention and just basically go and embarrass themselves, and by extension embarrass the country by calling everybody in front of a democratic process.
No need for that.
No, there is a simple need.
You know there's no need for that. I thought we were just going to keep this,
the need for that is simple.
Detached.
No, I am trying to show you.
I thought we were just going to keep this detached.
I'm trying to show you that democracy is not as easy as that. It's not as tidy as that. It requires a lot of negotiation. It requires a lot of consensus building. And I'm showing you that let's compare like with likes.
You're doing yours within your party. You're, chieftain of the party.
I'm telling you to compare what we are doing to what they did. We went to a convention to pick national officers.
Why are you just not talking about your own? Why are you stretching your neck looking over the fence? Why are you looking over the fence into what they have organized for themselves?
No, I didn't look before they did. I talked after they had. Now, they have done what they needed to do, and now we're comparing it, that which is more democratic.
Okay.
And I'm telling you with emphasis, and to all Nigerians, the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria has not excluded anybody. The only thing we haven't done is to tie the hands of other people and prevent them from exercising their right. You don't even know whether the consensus that them Saraki and Co are putting together, you don't know whether it's still going to throw up a northeastern man, a southern man, a Yoruba man, or a southwestern man. We must learn that if things don't follow our way in the beginning, that does not mean it's time for us to start getting angry or thinking that we should get emotional. PDP is a good party. We're running it well, and we're looking to rescue Nigeria right about now.
Okay, if you say so.
I know so.
Okay. As I said, we just stay in the middle here. He just said PDP is a good party. As well, he must. He's a member of the party.
Absolutely.
As you are. PDP is a good party. There are others that will say there are better parties than the good party.
Yeah, I'm still expecting that party.
Yeah, okay. So here we are now. You have roundly condemned any idea towards a consensus, among other reasons. You've explained the reasons, but among other reasons that, in any case, you don't go changing the goalpost. You would have said this from the very, very beginning, not when people have come into it. Do you see this as a danger if Sarakis and, Saraki and Co., if they continue Tambowa, because they are doing this, what looks like an altruistic kind of a journey. Say, look, if it goes the other way, I will be at a loss, but I don't care. What I do care about is Nigeria. PDP was in power for all the time that you know. This caring about Nigeria that we're hearing about now, I don't know how well it went in the very long stretch in which they were in power and ultimately lost it because people were fed up and said, you know what, we got to have a change. Okay, so here we are. Whichever way it goes, one way or the other, people will make the decision when the time comes. But do you see any danger in when I say danger, I'm talking about internal family affairs and relations of the PDP maybe imploding from this?
It is a possibility. I hope not, but it is a possibility. Because when you start excluding a section of the country, when it was Obasanjo time, everybody considered, because the Abiola was killed and murdered, the argument was let them have it because the Abiola was killed. We all fought for Nadeko. We all participated. That argument won. Ekweme that lost helped Obasanjo campaign for him. And we accepted it. When somebody is killed, that you need to do something special. That's what happened. And when it came to Yaradua, they say it's not, we let them go. Brother and brother, love your neighbor as yourself. We have to work together. You can't just be excluding one part of the country. Like when Zik and Awo fought and got independence of the country, they weren't able to be president. But they fought hard, and it's like they were. After you have no country in the world got their independence, it's usually those people that fought and got it that take over.
Dr. AnaKwenze, what do you say to those who say that power is not, and by power I should also include the right to even contest to participate, is not handed to anybody on a silver platter, or is it a gold platter? Simply because of these some of the kind of things that you are saying, that look, justice and fairness is what it is, so it should come here. You're still going to be obliged, so the narration goes, to get up and go all over and sell your candidacy to all the people, which I imagine that's what you started by telling us some of the things that you thought were important. So the fact that the Southeast, as you are saying, deserves a turn now, within the party, how do you see that aspect to it? That still you have to get up. It won't just be because I am the South, the Southeast, bring it here. You still have a lot of work to do, and following those overtures, that person, depending on his persuasive abilities, still might not get it. What would you say to that?
That's why I just traveled throughout the north. I went to Kano, Kastina, and I'm getting ready to go to Sokoto, and they accepted my message. I have new message to change Nigeria. What we're doing now is not working. We have a great country that can be one of the top 10 countries in the world, and here we're running last. You're borrowing money. We have all the natural resources. If you have somebody with brilliant mind, we will be a top country, one of the world powers. Our youths are dying, and they are rotting in the gutter. Nothing is being done for the youth.
Metaphorically speaking. Metaphorically speaking.
Yeah. So you need to find somebody who can change things. If you are satisfied with the way things are, then go ahead. If not, then you need to look for somebody different. Okay. I come from Diaspora. I'm the one that can bring American system of government that can make everything work.
But this is Nigeria.
But I came, but
an American system, do you think it would work here? I mean, first of all, people are complaining. I mean, we're with it. They're complaining about the overly expensive presidential system that we imported lock, stock, and barrel from America.
American system is working. They are the #1 country in the world. And remember that most of the people that went to form America the black people in it, half of them are from Nigeria. 50%.
Okay.
Is the people, your own people. Yoruba people, all these people from along the coast, they are the one. Half of American blacks is Nigerians.
Well, we've seen this.
And they are on their back, America was built.
Well,
their system works. They are the #1 country.
Well, we've seen this where, diasporans come in from the U.S. Or anywhere else, and wanting to, use the knowledge, adapt the knowledge. We've seen this, so I can understand that.
There's a lot we can do. Your healthcare system is a disgrace. People go from here to London and India to get surgery.
You should say our.
Okay.
Our.
Our healthcare system in Nigeria is a disgrace. We can do better than that. We can do all the surgeries and operations, the eye, ear, nose. We can do it here. We have over 10,000 Nigerian doctors overseas that can come back. It's because of the system that we have that's not working that they don't want to come back.
It's all about 2023 and indeed the top job as well as other very, very important jobs. We're talking about elections, but the PDP, the main opposition party, has to fix its internals so that they come up with something satisfactory to all of them. Right now, there seems to be a conversation, let me not say an argument, a conversation going on about between consensus or indeed going out there and see how it happens. I understand there's someone on the line that wanted to, join the conversation.
Okay.
I'm just hearing that we lost the connection after being told that there was somebody on the line. So I imagine other people will come in. You seem to give me the impression that nothing is really out of order here. This is very much in the nature of what political parties are like.
I always say to people, when an Obama stepped forward, the world will know. Anyone who looked at the American system before Obama became president would have said he's a minority of the minority of the minorities. Hawaiian background, Kenyan background, but he became president. Anyone who wants to be president of Nigeria now can take the opportunity and advantage of a political party as pan-Nigeria and as fair as PDP. All he needs to do is sell himself. We are all at a point where we're looking for the best man that can solve the myriad of problems in the country. Okay. You will never get it because you think there's a reservation.
The best man is the PDP for?
No, for the PDP. You will never get it because you say there's a reservation. You can only get it because you can't get it because you say there's an entitlement. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't come and say, I feel entitled to it. But you can work hard, and the people will say you deserve it. Now, for the PDP, the PDP, there are two. Could
I interrupt you, please, and then you could resume afterwards, because Segun has called in from Finland. Good morning, Segun.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I want to contribute to the program.
Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me, Uncle Yori? Yeah, my own contribution is that I want to use this medium to thank you for what you have been doing. I quite appreciate. I'm always addicted to the program. I always watch every day. So, but what I will say is that I will speak to Nigerians. There is no difference between the APC and the PDP. Nigerians, we have tried since 1999. We have tried the PDP for 15 years, and we can see the total failure. And we have also tried the APC for almost 8 years now. We have seen a colossal failure. So I wish Nigerians just open their eyes and look to the left and try other parties. If we have tried these people for 23 years of our lives, and the country is not moving forward, going backward. Education system is bad. The economy is bad. Everything is not working. The security is in the mess. And none of those guys already themselves as presidential aspirant. None of them, they are still the old people that have brought the country down to the knees where we are today.
All right then.
They are not going to do anything.
So diaspora or no diaspora? Diaspora or Nigeria? You are complaining. Okay. Okay. Thank you for calling in, Segun. I'll come to Dr. AnaKwenze later because you were nodding as he was saying some things, so I imagine there's one or two things you want to say, but I interrupted Segun here. Well, he's saying that what was inherited, the total collapse that was inherited from the PDP when this administration came into power, this has not been moved forward according to that gentleman.
The major issue, the major issue we have,
the incumbent,
with selecting leaders is that our system recognizes parties as a platform for contesting and charging for election. There is no way an independent candidate has been allowed for now. And right now, we have not even allowed diaspora voting. I think we will in the future. But where we are now, you must look for a party. And if you want to give yourself a good chance of structure, you will look within the two major ones. That doesn't mean a third force can't also come and do magic. We have enough voting numbers out there. The last numbers we used to get the last president, and is the one that didn't come first, between Buhari and Atiku, was not a whole lot. There's still a lot of numbers there, people who are not turning up. What I do not want us to do is that I do not want us to divide our country even further on the basis of feeling entitled. Anybody from any part of the country is allowed to contest. Even in the APC today, we're hearing names from all sections of the country. They haven't resolved, they haven't gotten to that bridge yet. We have gotten to the bridge in PDP and we have boldly crossed it after taking the input of a 37-man strong committee made up of the whole country, one per state and a leader, so they can vote. And if they came with a unanimous decision, we must learn to know that it doesn't mean that decision was taken against us. It was taken in the best interest of the entire party. Okay.
Before I come back to you, sir, another caller came on, so let me quickly take care of Mr. Ade calling in from the UK. Good morning, sir. Go right ahead.
Good morning, Dr. Yori. I want to ask Mr. Sowunmi a question.
Yes.
Let's assume that it's a Southerner that has been the president for 8 years now. Anybody from Southerner that has been the president for 8 years. And what is the way they are killing the people in the north like this? What does it take the northern people will be saying by now? Will they be saying that, no, give it to the south, give it to the south? I'm disappointed that Mr. Sowunmi is still referring to the north. When after the north, the northern government for 8 years, I'm an APC, for 8 years, the Fulani man, and they are killing people like that. It is time for the people to strain to the south. Anybody in the south, any party that don't feature any southerner will lose the election. Anybody that features the southerner will win the election. All the southerner will vote when it comes to presidency. It's not about party now. It's about interest of the southerner. Because if northerner has been there, northerner has never been killed like this. I live in Kano for 11 years. All what is happening in the north has never happened before. Look at the operation happening in the north. So Mr. Sowunmi is sitting down there because I want to campaign for Atiku. He's saying the northern. Let's think of our interest of the southerner. God bless you.
Okay then, Mr. Ade. Thank you very much, Dr. AnaKwenze. As I said, first of all, a very contentious issue that I think the gentleman from Finland, Segun in Finland, said that as far as he's concerned, there's no difference between the APC and the PDP. Of course, APC vehemently rejects that position, as I imagine does PDP as well. But he was quite categorical in condemning, condemning is not the word, criticizing even diasporans, Nigerians, full-blooded diasporan Nigerians who are 100% Nigerians. But he's saying that we're looking for answers, and so far we haven't got it. I was talking about the total collapse that the present administration, inherited from your party at the time, and we've still been, we're still in the throes of all of that. In fact, it's gotten as bad as people say, okay, it's enough. We've heard how badly the PDP did. Can you just get on with the job? It's not going to be a good excuse that, everybody can see that it was what it was. But can we get on, please?
Yes. The reason I came back is I was sent by the diasporans to come and represent them in the Nigerian elections so that we can change it for the better of our people.
Let me allow you a fuller kind of response, because Mr. George has just called in. I'll take him and then you'll be uninterrupted. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and greetings to your guests.
Yes, thank you.
Uncle Yori, before I continue from where Ade stopped, I want to say something about the gentleman that called from Finland. I don't know about others, but I judge my comments by the parameters of truth. The current administration, it is wrong to call it a colossal failure, because you are using insecurity that came up about 6 months ago to judge every other thing. That will not be fair to truth and freedom. We have agricultural sector. We have seen, let him check, records. We have agricultural sector. We know the progress that has been made there. We have seen Second Niger Bridge. We have seen trunk A roads in Nigeria. We have seen rail tracks, irrespective of the insecurity that is coming to it now. That did not say that infrastructure and some other developments have not occurred. To say it's a colossal failure is a wrong use of language. Now, as for the PDP, you do not need to go to a school of wisdom to know that it would be a huge mistake if they decide to choose a presidential candidate from the north. I want to ask the gentleman on your left, if NwachuKwu were not in PDP seeking presidential ticket, would the PDP as a party have dumped zoning? The answer is no, to say the truth. So the choice is yours. I'm not a PDP supporter. But if you want to win, do the right thing. And the right thing is to choose a candidate from a sellable zone. Nigerians are not as ignorant and as stupid as some people think, that you can just bring anything and then they will buy it.
Okay.
If you take a northern presidential candidate, irrespective of whether it's the most credible Nigerian, for this 2023, you will not win. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. Now, if you'd like to respond.
Yeah, we have several problems here. Massive corruption in Nigeria. That's stopping investment. The GDP will not improve with investments coming in. I know a lot of companies that want to come. They all go to Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa because you want 10%. Even university from the United Nations and from California, they want to build modern hospital in Abuja. They want 20%, 30% investment, and some of you are acting like it's normal. They wouldn't come, because if they give you that, they will go to prison in their country.
No, but when you say there's massive corruption in Nigeria,
yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, the journey started somewhere.
But it's worse now.
Oh, okay.
But
so what you're saying is that you can see that the PDP had its part in the massive corruption we're talking about.
It was, then it's more now.
Oh, okay.
And you have security problems. You can't go to Abuja or Kano. Why would something like that be happening in a country where we have army and police?
Okay.
We have to do something about security. Arm them better, train them better, even make part of the youth service military training. We can be overrun by people from somewhere, and we're sitting down and we say they raped my child, they raped my mother, my sister, they take my land. We can't allow that. You need somebody who can change it like me.
Okay, but well, understandably, I did introduce you as a presidential aspirant, hoping to become the presidential candidate of the PDP. So those things you are saying will be understood and put in that context. But you didn't comment yet on whether, I think the gentleman from Finland saying that if you leave it to him, there's very little to choose between APC and PDP as concepts, but
there's room to improve any party. I chose PDP because in the past I've believed in a lot of the philosophy that was formed with, like Ekweme is my mentor, and the idea was more attractive to me. Both parties can be improved.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah, good morning, Chief Jolly. And then good morning to Mr. Sowunmi and then the other...
Dr. AnaKwenze.
Yes, thank you very much. Chief Jolly, let me continue where my president stopped, Mr.
George.
You see, Chief Jolly, it is unfortunate that some people calling from outside Nigerian, and then they were taught that everything here is bad. with due respect to that guy that calling from Finland.
That is Segun in Finland.
Yes, calling APC colossal failure. I'm sure since when he left this country, it has never come back. If he has come back, he will notice that the Lagos-Ibadan expressway is almost finished. The rail is there, and some other infrastructure that we have never, I said it again, in the last 16 years of PDP, we have never experienced such. Yes, in terms of security, they are still trying their best, even though their best is not yet to be achieved. Are you getting it now? And then coming to a PDP issue, it is unfortunate, although I'm not a member of the PDP, even though I have a sympathy for APC, I always did that. But Mr. Sowunmi, I give you this. As Mr. George rightly says, if Mr. Atiku, the former vice president of this country, is not within that PDP, I'm very sure they will not say that they want to jettison the zoning. See, Chief Jori, come to think of this. Come 2023, Nigeria are wise now. We are very, very wise. You cannot say that they are doing a lot of that, especially to Southeast. Let me say that, especially to Southeast. Look at it from 1999 as we come to political dispensation. PDP have never given Southeast any chance to give them a candidate from that zone. Now, this gentleman in the studio says that he can do it, even though I have my reservation for that. But I can tell you, we have a lot of credible candidates from that zone. Why since 1999, the Southeast have been a PDP backbone. They have never been in opposition. And then when it will come to APC now, APC is in power today, and then they were ready to zone that very particular position to South, wherever you come from, either Southwest, Southeast, or anywhere. But come to 2023, Chief Jori, we are moving on. We will know where the pendulum to switch on. 3 months of this time, we know where we are going. Good morning, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Yakub. Please.
Okay, let me set some very clear parameters for the answering of the question, because they are similar. The zoning committee has not zoned this ticket to Atiku. It has only thrown it open. And Waziri Atiku Abubakar, like every other candidate, has bought that form, is about now struggling to figure out how to be the choice of the delegate. Until the delegates' elections are over, nobody can be sure who the candidate will be. And there are quite a few southern candidates there. That's that. Number two, I hate hypocrites. When Yoruba people start saying, bring it south, is that supposed to suggest that you want to reduce the country to a batting passing between the northwest, where Buhari and Yar'Adua come from, and the southwest, where Obasanjo and a few others, including Osinbajo, come from? You can't run a nation like that. You must run a nation in such a manner that you create the axiom of one people, you create the axiom of one future, and you create the axiom of one country. Once you are able to lay that kind of vision on the table, you encourage everybody within that country to try. 2023 is an unusual kind of year. The present challenges we are facing in the country are not the types that anybody can just filibuster and expect to solve. You need some experience. You need some serious interrogation on the how do you want to do that which you are claiming, and you need to be sure that you are playing the game according to the rules. If you want to play in the the World Cup, Nigeria would love to be there, but we didn't make it at the qualifiers. The World Cup is not going to stop because we didn't make it at the qualifiers. The parties are a little bit like that. Political parties don't do their zoning haphazardly. And I have laid the foundation here that they usually know that the person that is in charge has the right of first refusal. I've given you the foundation that the Bala Mohammed committee, even way before now, immediately after the 2019 election, sat down and ran through the whole country and said it may seem right to leave it open. They've set up another committee of another 37-man committee by PDP to further interrogate it, which is the autumn-led committee. They've come with the same verdict. Would you really think that all of those people, including the ones that are not from the north in that committee, they went to that committee to go and do themselves injustice? Do not be deceived.
1 second,
people
please.
are speaking in a manner that they don't even know how this game is played.
Okay.
Political parties don't agree on similar zoning. When we were going south, even in PDP, The alternative party, CPC and ACN, they were always going on permanently. Now they have gone north once. Are they going to now hoodwink us and force us to go according to their zoning?
Okay,
the answer is no.
Let me bring in Abdullahi. Good morning, Mr. Abdullahi in Kaduna.
Good morning, sir. My name is again Amin Abdullah, calling from Katsina.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
I want to give my take on this.
Sure.
I think Nigeria at this stage, Nigerians generally need to just pray over the leadership of the country. Because Nigeria at this stage we don't need to be choosing from either PDP or APC or any of the parties. We look for a credible candidate. Everybody should pray over so that God will choose a better candidate for us. We are not now. We are not going to be thinking on just looking for zoning or what have you. We just pray so that God will give somebody with iron hand that will take Nigeria to the right direction. This is just my take on this.
All right,
Thank you. Have a nice day, sir.
Thank you very much, Aminu Abdullahi, for calling in from Kaduna. We're in the home stretch now. In fact, we've almost run out of time. You said you came in from the diaspora because the diaspora, indeed, gave you the charge. What do you say? I mean, your structure here. People talk about in Nigeria, you need a structure. I think politicians know better than anybody what that means. You need a structure to run on. Do you think people contesting for the presidency, the kind of structure required, is at your disposal?
Yeah, that's why I've been putting together. I've been to the north and we have structure in the north, in the middle belt. That's what we're here in Yoruba land to do. We're here in Southwest to do. I'll be going over the whole Southwest in the next few days.
Okay.
That's what I'm here to do. I was sent. I have to do the work that I'm asked to do. There are certain things that are important for me. Like we need to have 24 hours electricity like we have in all over the world. We have the means to do it. You have gas flaring in Port Harcourt and rivers. That gas is hooked up in a turbine. He boils the water, he turns the turbine, you have electricity non-stop. We're just throwing the gas away in the air. This is something we can do. It's something that's within our reach. Healthcare is very poor. Healthcare is very poor. People are going outside to have healthcare. We can train Nigerians. We can bring Americans and from Europe to train our doctors. Our people are very smart. Our young kids are very smart. They are not empowered. We can put American type of hospital in, at least in each zone, like Ibadan, Enugu, Abuja, Kano. We can do that.
What would you do with your American citizenship in this quest? That would be to one side, and then you just...
What do you mean?
I'm assuming that if you spent all that time out of Nigeria in America, because you've been speaking about America, you probably are an American citizen as well.
All of us are. All the people in diaspora are. But if it's required, we throw it away.
If required.
If
but
required,
it hasn't been said
away.
yet. Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much, Dr. NwachuKwu AnaKwenze, PDP chieftain and PDP presidential aspirant, and wish you, the best in your endeavors. And also, I do wish Mr. Segun Sowunmi, the best in his endeavors, which is on a different scale. His interest is a PDP governorship race in Ogun State.
Yes, rational thinking is the first thing that the leader brings to the table.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.